We're really excited to have you guys join us here. Please know that we are actually turning off your videos and we're turning off your sound because we don't care about you. No, because we just want to preserve, I'm sorry, Connie, we want to preserve bandwidth. So, but what I would ask you all to do is please move your mouse, go to the bottom middle of your screen. You're going to see the green share button. Don't click on that because it ain't going to work. Go to the chat button, which is on the left. Please click on that. Please, if you would, you can type your name in and where you are from. Here we go. Agnes from Austin, Texas. Hi from Stewart, Rhode Island. We've got hi, Cheryl, Chris, and Betsy. Connie says hi to these. Alabama, Phyllis from Pennsylvania, Chris Henry. Hi, Chris Henry from ACAC in the East Coast, New York, Orlando, New Jersey, California, Philly. Okay, I'm getting out of breath. You guys, thank you so much for coming. We want your questions. We want your comments. We want to hear from you later. Okay, because I'm going to introduce everybody. I'm Sara Kooperman. I'm the CEO of SCW Fitness. I've got Connie Warasila, who's the choreographer of Water in Motion and a faculty member of SCW Fitness Education. She's certified by just about everybody, and she's also the AEA Fitness Professional of the Year. So that was pretty exciting. We've got Gilbert, who's an owner and operator. And we say owner because, and I say it with a lot of respect because it's a very difficult time in our lives, of 2 Shapes Fitness for Women franchises in the Tampa area. She oversees the operations of over 50 group fitness professionals and 25 personal trainers. And she's amazing, and she's on the SCW faculty and choreographed Water in Motion Platinum for 4 years. And we have a lovely friend of mine, Marietta Mehanni. She is from Australia. It is 10 a.m. in the morning.
11.
It's 11 a.m. in the morning. She's joining us. She's a multi-award winning. Do you hear that? You hear that, Connie? Not just one. She's a multi-award winning fitness presenter. She has a successful live and online educator for both land and water-based exercise, and she is the education coordinator for Gymstick International. So we're thrilled to have people here. It's time for us to get back in the pool. It's a very safe and effective environment for us all, and I'm just thrilled that we're talking about this. I'm going to launch right in because we have 45 minutes. So boom. How do we convince the active aging population to re-engage in our Aqua programs? How do we get them back? I'm going to start with Gilbert.
I knew it.
You knew it because
I knew it.
You've done just about everything. Now you're going to hear a lot of stuff that she's done beginning in March. It doesn't matter that it's December. You just have to start. So Ann, pearls of wisdom, please share.
Oh, I've got a bunch. I've got a bunch. But the biggest thing is earning trust back, right? And the thing that they needed to see, my members needed to see, is a visual. So we've done a lot in March, in May, in August, and now in December, in taking videos of exactly what we've done to adhere to the CDC guidelines. And then since then, what the classes look like. So they see their friends. They trust that the environment is clean. We walk them literally from the front of the building, down the pathway towards the locker room, showed them step by step with virtual touring exactly what they would expect. We also had a great open house series where people would come on what we call the safe time of the day so they could actually see what's happening in the club. But we continue those strategies. They worked when we opened in May. They're still working. So we're not stopping. It's hyper communication, and we love the video. We love the video.
The videos that Ann took, because she sent it to me. At first, she made this really long video. It was like 3.5 minutes. I'm like, I'm done. I'm done. I'm watching. I'm done. Videos have to be under 1 minute for them to post correctly on Facebook as well as Instagram. 30 seconds, to be honest with you, works much better. If you've got testimonials you're going to get from clients, you stand back 6 feet, grow your screen. They can pull their mask down and say, hi, this is so-and-so. It's wonderful to see you. I'm loving my class. The facility is fabulous. Thank you. and
Mhm.
then put it right back up. And making it a normal, just do it with your phone, man. These
Mhm.
are the best piece of equipment out there are our phones. So that is awesome. Marietta, what are you guys doing in Australia? Because are you open right now?
Yeah, so I live in Melbourne. Melbourne actually suffered a lot more than the rest of Australia. So parts of Australia came out of lockdown in June. So they were only shut for like, I think, a month or 6 weeks at most. And then Victoria and New South Wales were the two states. We were in lockdown till mid-June. Then we came out of lockdown for 3 weeks, and Melbourne went into the hardest lockdown out of, apparently the strictest lockdown out of every lockdown in the world. We were not allowed to move more than 5 kilometers from our home. Only one person could leave the house to go out for essentials like shopping. So family couldn't go out. Like, and there was laws around it. So if you were caught without your mask in public, you were fined heavily. So it was strict lockdown. And we've just started coming out of it in October. And I was regularly connecting with all the other instructors around Australia. So we're moving out of lockdown now in Melbourne. And I can tell you now with confidence that participants will be coming back and they will be desperate to get back into the pool. So we're not really having an issue with trying to get people to come back. It's more about making sure that we have the appropriate numbers as we continually move out of lockdown. We haven't had any COVID cases for a month now in Melbourne. No, zero. So it's possible. It's very, very possible to get to that stage. But one of the things that instructors, when I meet with these instructors in an Aqua mentoring group every Thursday night, we talked about the importance of word of mouth, because that's actually how they're communicating with each other. They're talking to each other and they're saying, it's fine, you can come back, it's a lot of fun. But what we did do during that really tough lockdown where people just weren't even allowed to, we're only allowed 1 hour outside, 1 hour exercise outside. So what a lot of the gyms did was they created virtual programming, land-based training to keep those people still physically engaged. So yes, they couldn't access a pool, but they were still being physically active. The programming was designed for that population group. And it was always about, let's get fit so that when we come back to the pool, we're going to be fit enough to be able to participate in the class, because one of the things that we've definitely recognized and acknowledged is that there's a big decline in fitness levels, not just of our participants, but my friends, of the instructors. Instructors are
And
really struggling.
And you know what I loved what you said is they're creating land-based programs to keep our water people fit. And it's not just about keeping them fit, it's about keeping them engaged in any
Yes.
form of fitness and engaged with you. I mean, we know that all these virtual apps are going like crazy. Like Apple has their new fitness app. It is fabulous. But I want to take Connie's class. I want to take Connie's class. I like Connie. I like Marietta, and she's okay. But there's, you know, that's what we want the people. So I'm going to jump to you, Connie, in just a sec. What type of land program do you see as being successful for our water people? Like if we're limited to 10 people in the pool, one teacher and 9 students, how can we keep the other people engaged?
So there was lots of different types of programming, which has continued. This is the one thing that's been really interesting. Like post COVID, we can now have, I think, up to 50 people in the class now. So it's pretty
Wow.
much going back to normal. But there's a lot of them that are quite happy to continue doing the virtual. So the clubs are looking at providing two options: chair-based exercises. There was good old-fashioned aerobics, low impact aerobics, step aerobics, strength training, just with things that people could use in their own homes. So there was a lot of creativity around it as far as, and the timetable would be issued out. So the clubs were issuing out a timetable with all their favorite instructors teaching different styles of classes, and they were responding to the feedback. So instructors were asked to videotape themselves and put it onto a platform, and then the coordinators would just pick and choose different classes and update the timetable every week. So the timetable wasn't exactly the same, but for example, if they liked, Anne's class and Anne did a chair class, class, and we could see a lot of views for the chair class that Anne did, then we'd get Anne to do 2 more chair classes for the following week since that was so popular.
So you just like watch what's working and make it work. And Connie, you were talking before we turned the camera on about the app that your club has, but I know you do this also on Facebook and messaging and things like that on your own, but please share with us what you've been doing with your app.
Great. Thank you for asking. Our club had started using an app called Motion Vibe, and it kept our instructors in touch with each other and subbing and keeping our schedule always filled. And when the pandemic happened and we needed to track who was coming to class, it was a natural extension to add all of the clients in the club onto that app. And now we vibe with our clients. So now, before the water class, I can send out a message blast about what we're going to be doing in class, or maybe tell everybody to secretly say thank you to Melissa, the lifeguard, for cleaning our equipment for us. Or I'll send out all different kind of little messages, not necessarily about coming to class, but more about what's happening, and to encourage them to feel safe in the environment, because I think that's the biggest number one obstacle is, even though the pool is such an open environment and our HVAC is brand spanking new, people still are feeling like it's an indoor activity. So I'm trying to emphasize it's clean, it's fresh, it's the best place to be. You're working out in a box of Clorox. Come on, you're safe. Come back, come back. So I've been using that platform to really not only stay in touch, but to build a community.
Yes.
Because then they feel a part of this community.
You're absolutely correct. The CDC, the Center for Disease Control, actually has said that the pool has 6 times the strength needed to kill the coronavirus, 6 times the strength needed. And it's like swimming in that box of Clorox. Don't inject it, but you can swim in it. And when you get in with your piece of equipment, I mean, Anne and I have discussed ad nauseum, how do we get them in the pool, keeping them 6 feet apart like you do with the grocery store. They pick up the noodle, then they dunk it in the water, and it basically sterilizes it. So yes, we need to clean the equipment because they're touching it and they may be coughing on it before they lay it down in the stack of the others. But the cleanliness, put on some gloves, dunk it back in and with your gloves, and while you're wearing the mask, and put it in. And you also you wrote handwritten notes to your clients. You sent personal emails. What other things have you done to keep the community? I think you're doing something Saturdays,
We have put together a lecture series for the members on Zoom, which has been really fun. And it's every Saturday morning. We call it Couch Conversations. And we just invited just a few to begin with, and we only had a handful. But as we continued, it's grown as many as 80 people on a Saturday. And we talk about everything from tying your shoes if you're walking so that you can have a pain-free walking experience, because most of our aquatic people or our aquatic clients and members only went to the pool, and now they're taking off on the street. And we taught them everything from tying their shoes for the need for recovery. We celebrate birthdays. We've had a bingo party. We have 2 fashion shows for the latest and greatest new aquatic wear in January already planned, and we are going to use Zoom. We also have personal Facebook pages. Our club's a little bit smaller, and we're able to really connect on a daily basis, like Connie, with a message like so-and-so came back to class, they feel great about it. So-and-so has lost weight since they came back to class. We've seen a lot of people in surveying, which is the third thing that we've done a lot of surveying, saying that they're really concerned about the pandemic weight gain. And we've never heard from our aquatic environment that much about really wanting to lose weight, really seriously taking on a weight loss challenge. So that's one of our January plans also.
Well, tell me just a little bit more about this weight loss program, because I think maybe it's because a lot of people who exercise in the aquatic environment are more accepting of their body.
Mhm.
But now, you know, we can't be as active. I don't know about you guys on this phone, but it's just like, thank goodness you can see me just from here up, right? But what type of weight loss program have you created?
A dietitian-based weight loss challenge. It's going to be a 6-week challenge, like the popular challenges that have been around for years in land. We're bringing it right to the aquatic environment. But the thing that's interesting is it's taken us a little bit more time to introduce the training to the instructors, because this is something that they've really never played with before, is the personal training aspect of introducing a weight loss challenge. So we have a dietitian software-based program right in line, which is trusting and also appropriate for scope of practice in the state of Florida. And now we've got the dates of the start and the end of the challenge, and we're going to go in groups. And unlike the 50 people that are coming back to the pool or the 30 people that are coming back for general fitness, people are empowered to group up with the people that they spent time with during the pandemic, the people that they socialized with, the people they Zoomed with, the people they talked to on the phone. So we're finding that people are really empowered by a group of 4 to 6 people. It's their tribe, it's their own little tribe, and they're kind of encouraging themselves to work together towards the weight loss goals. We're going to give prizes. I love prizes.
And we started talking also about programming, because we're all, you know, we're stir crazy. I think all I want to do is just get in the pool and do a jumping jack, and I think I'd be happy. But having something innovative to draw people in is important. Marietta, again, before the camera came on, you were telling us all these great through your meetings that you do in Australia with your Aqua tribe that you have there. Please share with us.
Okay, so I put the question out to my mentoring group, and we spent a whole hour talking about it. So Accupole has been very strong presence in Australia. We've got a great team in South Australia that are doing that. Accupole actually held the international conference in Adelaide earlier this year in February, and then we all went into lockdown. But Accupole, the pole, the punching bags, the trampoline, the bikes, and what's really innovative, and I'll just tell you a little bit about what they're doing over there in South Australia, is that they have several pools and they rotate the equipment, because obviously it's expensive. And so they have a team of instructors that can teach everything, but the equipment rotates from one pool to another. So it's there at one pool for a month, and then it rotates to the next venue. And so every month the participants get exposed to a piece of equipment for a month. It's quite clever. We're talking about frisbees. Frisbees is become really popular, like just using the frisbees in the pool, you know, the plastic. Is that what you call it in the States? Frisbees? Yep. Okay. So it's like a gliding disc in the pool, using balls. And so I shared this with the group at the start, and they were like, what's a tea towel? So this is obviously, you know, the differences between Australia and the US. So a tea towel is what you guys call
a coffee rag. Yeah.
or a dish rag, right? So we call it a tea towel, much nicer name. And if you get a cotton one, and this is actually something that I actually saw from Mushi Harush. She's an Israeli Aqua presenter, amazing, creative, like no I've ever seen. And using this in the water because it creates its own resistance. So just playing around with different things. Drumming has become quite popular here in Australia. So
yeah, when you mentioned, I'm going to take the screen and show everybody. I'm going to show you guys. This is great. When you were talking about the pole, it really made me think about Aquatic. Believe these, like the trampoline, and they take the same pole and they wrap the cushioning around it to use it as a punching bag. that bite.
The Aqua is from Italy. It's quite innovative.
So that's boom, done. But it's nice to see it because it is something innovative and it's wonderful. Oh, look, Indigo Aquatics is on. Yes, we are sharing your video. We love your products. You know, Connie, obviously you're the queen of choreography. All right. So you're finding that your classes are really full, right?
Yes, that was the water classes actually filled up and sold out before any other venue when we opened in the summer. And so we added more classes relatively quickly. And what we're finding is people are thirsty for it. And we've only added 3 daytime classes and 2 nighttime classes. That's it. We only have 5 on the schedule, and they're selling out on a regular basis. People are very eager to come back.
And if you were talking about innovative equipment, because I know when we do Water in Motion, you actually used one of the noodles. Like I love Aqua bar. I love taking a noodle and pretending it's like a ballet bar, but you used it as a piece of drag equipment, buoyancy equipment, and then a stability device.
Well, in Water in Motion, yeah, we really rely on that noodle, and you can do so much with it. I know I'm kind of a geek when it comes to this, but I'm like a noodle nerd. You can use it in the front, in the back, on the side, asymmetrically. You can use it under your foot, over your hip, behind your back. You can use it. It's such a versatile piece of equipment for relatively low investment that I just think it's a no-brainer. But in addition to that, most of the clubs I've ever taught at have always had hand buoys, and underutilized hand buoys. So I'm really excited to get Water in Motion fully back up to speed because we really want to launch our Water in Motion strength program. And that does introduce the hand buoys as an added versatile piece of equipment. And again, Sherry Culp has been our choreographer for that. And she's introducing a lot of creative ways to use your hand buoys, or what was she calling them? Aqua dumbbells. In a variety of different ways, because we're not limited to just having them in both hands. So I'm really excited for that program to launch so people can experience that creativity again. Plus, the focus of that program is strength, and I think that has been underutilized in water for a very long time. And all of my clients are very excited about it. They are very interested in building strength. We've gotten really good at cardio stuff, but I think they really want to become strong, and they understand the importance of being strong and how it applies to their daily life.
Right. They're not as scared. Yes, Marietta.
I just realized the one program that I'm the international master trainer for, it's Aqua Gymstick, and we didn't even mention it.
I was wondering when you were going to know it.
Hello.
And that's all strength. I mean, the resistance bands are attached to a pole which you hold on to, and you can actually change the resistance of the bands. These bands are amazing. They do not perish in the pool at all, regardless of what chemicals you put in the water. And it's such a clever piece of equipment because, of course, you can use it for upper body strength, but then you can also use it for your lower body strength because your hands and feet are attached. Oh my God, I cannot believe I didn't mention it.
You know what? And the neat thing is we can take these things into the pool. Like, I know Indigo Aquatics, they're here, they're on the webinar, but they did a 75-minute workout and they streamed it from Italy. It was amazing. So at Live Stream Mania. I'm going to, here I go again. I'm going to take the screen. I know I've got it. I'm like trying to figure out where the heck is it. I'm going to here's our Water in Motion page. And if you want to see more about the different programs, like here is Water in Motion Strength right there. And we'll show the variety of ways you can use a dumbbell. gives you, it's nice to see, the different ways that we're able to work with our equipment, which is great. And what programs do you find that are being very successful at Shapes?
I think the one that's probably the fastest growing is our surf and turf, which is a small group training for fee. It's a revenue-based program. And by the way, we're using the Gymstick. Did you know? I'll send you the pictures. But it's bringing that boutique experience, and it's attracting younger people, which I love. Boutique, it builds the tribe, uses unique equipment, and really is very results driven rather than just being cardio as in some of the classes in the past. So we're introducing innovative equipment in a small group setting, and it's growing. We have 5 classes on the schedule, or 5, we call them sessions because we consider it part of the personal training department. But it's bringing us all of these unique pieces of equipment that we're seeing are so exciting for us because they're giving our members an opportunity to have a boutique experience, unique equipment, results-driven programming, camaraderie and accountability to staying in their group, in their tribe. So that's the biggest growth that we're seeing at Shapes.
Oh, that's fantastic. And Connie, I'm kind of, I can't believe we're like a half an hour into this. It's just crazy. What are some of the safety measures you had to take? Because I think you've got your locker room separated from the pool, then you've got a tent you're putting over the pool. I mean,
yeah, we got some situations. So we really had to go the extra mile to make sure that people understood the walking patterns into the locker room, out of the locker room, down the hall to the pool. And right now, because we do have our bubble up, we have a revolving door. So that's actually made it a little easier. But in the summer, we had 2 doors open, an internal door and an external door. So people would come in through the club, but then after the class, they would leave out of the external door to leave the club. And that worked really, really well. Now that the bubble is up, though, we have to go in and out of the revolving door. And it hasn't really caused a problem, so I'm glad about that. And my club was also really strict about wearing your mask everywhere in the club and including the pool deck. But once you get in the pool and you're in your spot, and we all have, I'll come back to that. You don't have to wear your mask when you're in the water. And I'm so happy about that. I had told Matt Carvalho and Sara, some Water in Motion friends, that I got in the water to do a workout and I forgot to take my mask off. And I was only in there maybe 3 minutes before I realized, oh, I felt this warmness come over my face. And I'm like, dang it, I forgot to take my mask off. It was so uncomfortable. I could not breathe when it was wet. So if you're having issues with that at your club, I would really encourage you to have people wear their masks while they're on the deck. But when it's time to get in the pool, take off the mask and have it by the side of the pool or at their cubby or wherever.
We did that article, and
yeah, that article.
I called Connie, I called Anne, Marietta. There's no way I'm going to call you in the middle of the night, although maybe I will from now on. But we wrote an article. I wrote this, oh my gosh, it's like a 7-page article on how to do it. And I think it's really important our students label their masks, because you don't want to pick up somebody else's mask. You take it off, you leave it on the bench, you're 6 feet apart from people, you got it labeled, and a lot of them don't have it labeled. So what you do is you keep a marker, an indelible marker right there, but it's unsafe for them to be in the pool because you're right, Connie. They can't breathe.
You really can't.
But a lot of instructors are smart that they can be on the deck, they're 6 feet away from people, so they wear a shield, just so that they're not spitting in the pool, because Anne is always spitting on people. It's a great form of weight loss, right?
Well, the other thing I was going to say is, I don't know about you all at home and when you teach it with your clients, but I've always encouraged my clients to travel around the pool. We add travel and direction for intensity. And during this pandemic, it has so worked against me because they have to stay in their spot. And they all now have a really favorite spot. So whenever the day comes that we can move freely again, that's going to take so long. And I think that is actually going to happen with other things in the water. So if we haven't had classes for a long time and we start having people come back to classes, we might have to start thinking about programming changes, like maybe only a 30-minute class. They might not be ready for a whole hour class. They might need a walking class. They might need a suspension noodle cycle class, so that they can build intensity up. And then hopefully by the summer, we're ready for like our big strong boot camps again and a strength program. But I really think we have to think about them being away from the water setting for so long.
And preparing for it.
Right.
I hear you. We're doing classes at the Y, and our pools are closed. Our Group X classes are closed. But about, a couple of weeks ago, they were open, and we just had to make sure we kept the 6 feet difference. And oh my goodness, this had to be 10 years ago. I did that video called Routines for
Sardines.
Routines for Sardines. You guys steal it. It's a great name. And we just did our workout in place because I used to get like 30 people in this tiny little pool. And it was at, I think, Evanston Athletic Club, tiny little pool, low ceiling. And it's like, we're not doing a lot of jumping and we're not jogging all around because you'll be smacking people. And now we don't want to touch anybody. But I do wonder also, what is aquatic programming going to look like in 2021?
I think we're going to have to offer some mini classes. I think it's going to be really important to add some kind of strength element like we've been talking about. But I also think because, people can only do a virtual class if they're at home and they have a pool. Most people don't. So I think we're going to have to find social ways to engage with them even more. I know people complain about people talking in the pool, but I'm welcoming it. I want to increase the class participation, interaction. So that's the kind of stuff I'm thinking about for when we get back to full schedule.
And I'm going to ask Marietta, you guys are months ahead of us. Like we had, oh my gosh, how many COVID cases yesterday?
I didn't.
It was 300,000. 300,000. And our hospitals are overrun, and it's a huge dilemma, but thank goodness we had the vaccine come out. So it's already started to be for our healthcare workers, which is awesome. But Marietta, your guys are ahead of us. You said you had 50 people. You can have up to 50 people in your class. What have you seen? Give us some, some predictions here.
Well, this is a prediction really, because in a lot of ways we are ahead because we're not dealing with COVID cases anymore. So this will surprise you. One of the biggest issues right now that the gyms are facing isn't the members, it's a lack of instructors. That's actually the biggest problem right now. So there's lots of people wanting to come back to Aqua, but a lot of Aqua instructors, in Australia, we were very fortunate. Our government supported people financially. One of the advantages of being a smaller country, there was this thing called JobKeeper. So the government basically gave every business an opportunity to keep their staff by paying their staff money. So you had to apply to be a JobKeeper and apply to be at one location, you could take that money. And so a lot of those facilities then redeployed their instructors because their instructors couldn't teach classes. So they gave them other jobs in the organization. And a lot of them have chosen to stay with those occupations and not return back to teaching classes. Wow. A lot of instructors who, it's been really interesting because at the other end of COVID for us, there's instructors who've gone, I don't want to go back to teaching anymore. My body was tired, I'm done. So we've got a real instructor shortage right now. And we've got people wanting to come to classes and people wanting to put more classes on the schedule, but the facilities can't find the staff. So that's number one. That's a number one issue. The second thing that's also really interesting coming out of lockdown, after giving all these people these opportunities for virtual classes, and our water participants, they really needed to do stuff on land. Let's face it, you don't live in water. We don't swim to the supermarket. We don't take our kids to school by water jogging. We walk on land and we have to deal with gravity. And so now there's actually a bit of competition for our aqua classes because people have realized, oh, I can do land-based training. Whereas in the past, perhaps they chose not to do land-based training because they felt of physical limitations. Now they're stronger and they're fitter for having done that, which is fantastic, but they've got choice now. So we've got virtual as almost competing a little bit with water classes. So there's those options there, and people wanting to now have a balance of the two. The advantage of being able to exercise in your own home and not have to go somewhere and deal with traffic. I live in Melbourne, so it's like LA. The traffic's really bad. So there's that.
I'm gonna interrupt you. I got to ask you one quick thing. There's a lot of people on this call. I've seen a lot of text messages. I'm out of work. My pool is closed. My club is closed. Export isn't opening. In Shapes just filed chapter, 65 clubs in California just filed chapter 11, and it's scary. So we're losing, they say 30% of the clubs are not going to open, guys. 30% will never open again. And even with the limited classes now, if we're running at even a 70% capacity, we're going to lose another 30% because we won't have all the classes we're able to run. But you're still seeing that there's a little bit of a shortage of instructors. So if those of you who are out there that want to keep teaching, keep your skills up, keep your certifications up. You will have a job. Are you finding that people are slowly returning and getting extra work? What do you see?
Well, I love what you just said there about instructors maintain their skills. That, like my virtual world exploded. Instructors were starving for online education and wanting to upskill themselves, and that was really exciting to see that they weren't depressed and they weren't, oh, I don't have a club to work, I don't have anything to do. They were looking at how they could upskill themselves. I love also what you just said about maintaining teaching skills, because I just wrote a blog for a couple of news magazines about the importance of teaching virtually. Even if you're not teaching live, find a way to teach virtually, because those teaching skills need to be constantly sharpened. If you haven't taught for a month, I don't care how long you've been teaching in your career, you lose those skills really, really quickly. It's just finding the way to say things and communicate things well and to interact and engage. So find a way to do it, whether you're doing it on Facebook Live or you find a way to connect with your members on Zoom. Keep them actively involved and engaged with you, and keep your teaching skills active and practice, even if it's, you can do it on the chair and pretend that you're in the pool, whatever, it doesn't matter. Keep yourself as an instructor, sharpen your skills, update your education. You've got the time, all the time in the world now, so no more excuses, and you can do it from your own home. And make sure you keep your audience engaged.
At SCW, we've got Marietta's one, all these lovely ladies are presenters at our live stream mania conferences. We're actually going to be doing the first ever SCW Aqua Exercise Summit. It's going to be this summer, June 26th and 27th. It's going to be a Saturday and a Sunday. But in March, we're also doing an active aging summit, which is just, again, this is just 2 days. It's very affordable. It's $149, 2 days. And you can even, I think it's like for $1 a day, you can add on like a month so you get to watch all the recordings, which is very, very cool. And Livestream Mania, which offers about 32 Aqua classes, along with about 170 others, is February 26th through 28th. So we've got, of course, we've got a lot of education. Boom, boom. I'm selling my education, which is important for us to stay alive as an industry. but keeping those skills up. And you've got all these instructors that you're working with. And I'm going to ask you, what's your policy of having them teach virtually and then also in the club? A lot of these people have been doing Facebook Live and things like that. And then they go back to the facility and they're saying, well, you've got to be exclusive. I mean, how are you handling that?
Sorry, go for it.
No, you go.
Yeah,
You go.
sorry. I'm
You
poor.
go.
I feel like
Show me that towel again. Show me that towel again. Your turn. Go.
But that hasn't been a problem.
Yeah. And Anne, I want to find out, because you've got 2 clubs you're running there. How have you been handling it as the owner?
The virtual versus the in-house, I feel as our instructors were kept occupied and kept paid during the closing of the pandemic. They want the connection with the members. They're eager, and they are not leaving us to do virtual. We have not seen any of that, and we're encouraging it. And it's really how they can give themselves a promotion in 2021 so that they can actually, like you said, upskill themselves into doing that for us, because we have 5 virtuals on the schedule at this time. Between the 2 clubs, we share the virtuals, and we're looking to double that by the middle of January.
Yeah. So even though the club is open in Florida, where you're from,
Mm-hmm.
you're still getting interaction virtually. Now, Connie, you did something unique that I just love.
Well, I agree with Marietta in that you have to keep your teaching skills up. And after about 2 weeks of being extremely depressed back in March, I said, enough. I have to teach. I have to teach. I have to say the words. I have to do the movement. Otherwise, I'm going to lose this skill. So I called a friend of mine in the neighborhood and I said, hey, would you want to take an exercise class outside if I taught it? And before I even finished the sentence, she said, yes, yes. So I started teaching out on my driveway. And it was a donation based. If you were still working and earning money and wanted to give a donation, I gladly accepted it, but I didn't charge. And that has grown. That program has grown. And I'm thinking, oh my gosh, this is a viable business. So I'm teaching 4 classes a week on my driveway. And even though it's cold, we're putting layers on, opening the garage doors, making sure we're not getting rained on or snowed on, if that's the case. And I teach a regular schedule, Saturday and Sundays, Monday and Wednesday nights. And that is totally separate from the work I did with the teaching I do for the club I work for here, Sport and Health. And because I live in a totally different neighborhood, there's no conflict of interest. And the clientele is totally different. But the driveway fitness saved me. And I started doing a lot more strength training, a lot more yoga. And I brought step training back. Like you said, Marietta, I thought I needed a cardio workout. And I didn't have the equipment, but I had a step. So I'm like, you know what? Dang it, I'm going to step again. And so I teach step 1 day a week. It's amazing. And it's wonderful to see that even as an instructor, you can improve your skills. In a time like this, you can still improve your skills.
And somebody did ask, do you have Wi-Fi? I don't think you're streaming in your driveway, but I think you are in your garage.
I am streaming, and I told my husband I needed to improve the Wi-Fi in this house. So we went and bought a mesh network and added it to our internet service. And boom, I have a great streaming service now from the garage and the driveway. So I wasn't doing virtual at the beginning. I was nervous about it. I wasn't sure I wanted to be out there in the internet waves. And so I just started it live. And then my niece found out about it in Charleston, and my son in California wanted to do it. And then my friend Beth wouldn't leave the house in Woodbridge. So they said, please stream it for us. So I started live streaming. And it really was not that difficult.
And you cleaned out your garage.
I did.
Moved the car. And you know what? My cousin did the same thing. cleaned it, you painted it.
Yeah, I have made myself a new studio.
Yeah, and I don't know if you didn't put any flooring down. You just,
You know I did.
you did.
Of course I did. It's
And
beautiful.
for you guys out there that are like, what's a mesh network? All you have to do is call your Comcast or Xfinity, whoever work, get it upgraded. Every single year, there is so many advancements that if you get it upgraded, we didn't really have to spend that much money to get a whole new network. So it's something you guys can think of. Oh my gosh, of course, we're like out of time,
Oh.
which I can't believe it. I am going to ask you ladies, short, sweet, just winding up. We've answered all our questions. What message, what positive message can you leave with our instructors that are on this call? I'm going to start with Marietta.
You know, like the whole time we were talking, there's one thing that I've been saying to everyone, and that is, where's the opportunity in this? That's what you always ask yourself. Everything's shut down. Where's the opportunity in this? People can't go to the pool. Where's the opportunity in this? There's always an opportunity, regardless of the situation, regardless of your circumstance, and just take the bull by the horns. Oh my God, there's always an opportunity. And, you know, see what somebody else is doing and then go, how are they doing that? That's all I did. And I have a whole virtual world now. I'm going back to the club to teach 2 classes, and I used to teach 16 a week, but I'm still teaching 16 a week from the comfort of my own home. So where's the opportunity in this?
Okay, thank you. And Anne?
I just think that everyone needs to understand that virtual is not a competition, but it enhances the relationships with the members you've had in the past, and it allows them to stay engaged through these unsettled times that we have. And I'm looking to see my business a third virtual and 2/3 open in January. So embrace it. And like Mary, I said, it's an opportunity. You're not a victim. We're opportunists here.
Great, great. And Connie?
As your members come back and they may feel a little apprehensive, take extra care with them and give them a lot of praise. But be gentle with them, welcome them back, tell them how safe everything is. You know, just wash over the praise for them. Yes.
Make them feel good about themselves. And
Yes.
I want to thank you ladies for joining me. This was wonderful. I want to thank Mike Lieber. Thank you he created that beautiful video with Water in Motion Strength. I am going to end with one of Mike Lieber's videos. This is our lovely, here we go. I have no idea why I'm looking at all this stuff here. All right. Great. Let's go back to our Water in Motion page. This is a good one. Okay, guys. Happy holidays, everybody.
I love
Happy
that.
holidays, and thank you for joining us, and everybody have a good night. And thank you again, Mike. Thank you, Connie. Thank you, Marietta, all the way from Australia. And thank you, lovely Anne.
Thank you.
Even
Thank
though
you,
you
Sara.
live in
Happy
Florida,
holidays.
it's warm. Thank you, guys. And thank you, Indigo Aquatics. All right, take care. Good night.